Hello and welcome back to Goswick Lane. We got a special guest today. This guy's name is Genty Patel. He is the top real estate agent in all of the world.
I don't know about the world.
You're top in Longview for sure, right? Or like top 3 for sure, right?
I would assume so. I think that it depends on where you're at. So,
okay.
I sell some in Tyler. Don't sell any in Dallas, but I do have that MLS. And so
if somebody sees this podcast and they need to sell something in Dallas, you can do it?
I can do it, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to dive into his brain. So we're going to have our Red Bulls here and have a moment with two dudes just hanging out on his porch. This is a new house that Genty just built for him and his family. And a beautiful place. You'll see a pool behind us. But he's worked super, super hard for this over the past. How many years have you been a real estate agent?
It'll be 5 in March.
Okay, that's also crazy that you've only been doing this 5 years.
Right, yeah. It's crazy to me.
What'd you do before?
So me and my brother have investment properties. Also had a commercial cleaning business. Anything that you could make money on.
Yeah. So you've sold the cleaning business, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you still have investment properties with your brother, some with your brother, some on your own, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Let's go through a little bit of stats. I'm not going to ask you how much money you've made this year, because this ain't a flex. This is a credibility standpoint type of deal that I'm sitting with an expert in the real estate industry. I'll say that. I think you would say an expert by definition is somebody who studies something for 1,000 hours, studies or does something for 1,000 hours. I think that's one of the calculations. And so I believe that you've absolutely done that in the past 5 years. So walk me through your sales per year, starting in year 1 to, as we sit here now, November 3rd of 2022.
So my first year was a short year. I started in March, and I did about $3 million.
Okay.
So fast forward second year, I believe I think it was $12 million.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you right there. We don't know the national average of what a real estate agent sells per year, and like you said earlier, it depends on where you're at, like on how high you can go based on your market. If I had to guess, put it in the comments below if you know, or if you want to Google it and see what it is. If I had to guess, I would say, $2 to $6 million a year might be average.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, depending on where you're at, I may go to Dallas with my $12 million, and they laugh me out the door.
They might.
But around here, I would think that somewhere between 2, 6, 8,
okay,
something like that, depending on what the market is.
And that's majority residential, correct?
Correct.
What is what most people sell.
Right. And at that time, I hadn't dived into any commercial or anything like that. I think that was year 3.
Okay. All right. Year 3. Year 1, 3. Year 2, 12.
12.
Year 3.
3 was 18.
Big jump. I mean, 3 to 12 is a huge jump. You got your feet underneath you.
I do, but I sit down and write down these goals, and it's like a mission. I'm on a mission whenever I'm doing this.
Do you remember what your goals were?
My goal for the first year was just to get my feet wet.
Okay.
The first listing that I had was my brother and I's flip house on Magnolia Lane.
Okay.
And it originally didn't sell. We were willing to part with it and just bust even.
Okay.
And my brother and I always collaborate well together.
Yeah.
And we talked it out, said let's rent it.
Mm-hmm.
Rented it for about 2 years, and then my first listing I sold it. So I sold it.
Nice.
And we made a really good profit.
So you made a commission and you made a profit.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I was hooked.
You're double dipping. The double dipping's good.
Right.
You're dipping in the right bucket with other people. I love that you said your goal was to get your feet wet the first year. I think that's really important in entrepreneurship and running your own business. Essentially, you are running your own business, although you're working under an agency. I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we try to go so fast that we miss the processes and the things that will actually make us successful.
Right.
We're just spinning, and not really realizing why or where we're going. So that learning process is really important. Would you agree?
Oh, I 100% agree. I've been in that spot.
Yeah, me too. Way too much. Holy moly. All right, so year 2, what was your goal? You hit 12. What was your goal?
My goal was 10.
Okay.
And I put, when I do these goals, like we're coming up on January, and I'll sit down and do my goals at that point, or December really. I put it like 10 to 12. Okay.
Okay.
So if I hit my min, I'm good. If I hit my max, I'm good. If I hit my max, I don't quit. I'm going for more. I set a new rolling goal.
That's where most salesmen quit.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to stop.
No, you're not like that. Most people, once they reach a goal that they set for themselves, in this, like most sales people, and I talk to guys that run sales agencies. If he has a salesman that says, "I want my goal is to make 150 a year, 150K a year," well, if they do that in October, 90% of people, and I'm just making this stat up, but it's a lot, just coast.
You can't do that in sales because what if the next year doesn't bring that?
That's right.
You have to keep going.
Okay, I like it. So 3rd year goal and actual.
Goal was 18 to 20, and I hit 18, so I didn't hit my 20.
Okay,
I was pretty beat up about that.
But you still hit your low end goal.
I hit the minimum. But
are you always $2 million apart? Is your goal?
No.
Oh, okay, we'll get into that in a second, huh?
No.
Okay. Were there any factors taken into consideration that we need to take into consideration? The reason that you didn't hit that 20 and you hit 18?
No, I worked my tail end off, and tried to make it work. Just the year ended too fast.
Yeah. Okay. Year 4.
4 was 21. My goal was to hit that 20 from the last year.
Yeah.
And I was bound and determined to hit the 20. Once I hit the 20, I was ecstatic. But again, I'll revert back to something that me and Mindy talk a lot in the office.
Is that? Okay.
She's the co-owner of Ramsey.
Ramsey Realty is a company that he works for.
And she said, "You need to be. Aren't you so excited?" And I said, "I mean, yeah, I guess." But she was like, "You need to just take the moment." So I'm not taking the moment. I'm moving forward.
Okay, this is a great point. I think Mindy was right, Genty.
Mindy was right, but I guess I always just want to achieve more. I don't, and it's not like a greed thing. I'm a very humble person.
Yeah,
and
I would agree.
I love helping people.
Yeah,
but I feel like if I'm not moving forwards, I'm going backwards.
Yeah, and I think that's true to some extent. But as entrepreneurs, like truly, like really driven entrepreneurs, the target moves so much for us that it's like a moving target, right?
Right.
We don't settle for that goal we just achieved and take that moment to say, thank you, Lord. That was awesome. Be grateful. It's almost as like the goal didn't exist before that because it just changed.
Right.
All right, year 5, we're in it now. We're at November 3rd, 2022. Your goal for the year and where are you at up to this point?
My goal for the year was 22 to 25, and I am over 25 million
already. You got basically 2 months left.
Yeah, when I hit the 25, which was just Monday of this week.
Awesome, congrats.
I said, well, maybe I can get to 30.
Well, based on your stats, you could. Does it slow down at all? November, December?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, people are getting ready for Thanksgiving. They're traveling. You can see that my wife has fall decorations out.
Oh, yeah. This is good.
So, coming in and listing a house, people don't want to do that because they're going to be changing. Those are going to be in the pictures.
And it's just like you're going through this holiday season, and like it's probably hard to get people tied down to close stuff up.
Yeah, title companies are closed, lenders are closed, banks closed, certain, some of the holidays. So we're really, this month we're pushing. I've got a couple closings at the end of the month.
Yeah.
That Thanksgiving is going to interfere with that. So, we may be pushing into December.
Okay. I think a byproduct of being that successful in the real estate industry is, a byproduct and a main, this is something that you strive for every day is the relationships that you have with
100%.
people. And one of those relationships is with title companies and people at title companies.
Right.
That when I know that if I'm closing with Genty, that I can get in there anytime that I want to.
Mm-hmm.
They might open the doors at 6 a.m. that morning if that's the only time we have.
They will.
Because they'll do it for you because you've built a great relationship with them.
Correct.
What was harder? The jump from $3 million to $12 million year 1, year 2? Or say the jump from 18 to 20 or 22, whatever that year was?
I'm going to say that's a loaded question because there's two different types of jumps. The jump from 3 to 12 is that you're still new. I'm still learning. And so my back's against the wall. I always tell people I work best with my back against the wall because I have something to strive for. So I'm going to say the 3 to 12 because I'm inexperienced.
Okay.
I'm swimming with some great agents. There's a bunch of great agents
really is.
in our market. And I love working with those great agents and colleagues and helping, to make the deals happen. So I'm gonna go with that one. But on the flip side of the 18 to, jumping over 20 is that you have to think, and a lot of the buyers, sellers don't understand that when as a realtor, you're dealing with a buyer. Let's say I'm representing a buyer.
Okay.
I'm dealing with a buyer, the selling agent, the title company, the lender. That's 4 people.
Yeah. To get a deal done.
It's
hard to close we have a lawn care business.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to close a $100 yard with one person.
Yeah.
You're talking about closing stuff with four people involved or 4 parties.
Right. And and I tell people when I meet you, me and Shane are doing a deal together. We're married for 30 to 60 days.
Yeah.
It can be a great marriage or we're getting a divorce.
And nowadays, sometimes it's 90 days.
Sometimes it's 90 days. It happens. I mean, those commercial deals, land deals, all these different type of deals, not just a standard residential. The banks, they take some time.
They do, yeah. And it's, sometimes things happen that are outside of everybody's control.
Right.
That you just have to deal with and move forward. And a lot of that is good communication between agents.
Right.
If you have agents on both sides. We've talked about a little bit before. Are you interested in consulting? We'll get into your qualifications here in a minute and what makes you different, set apart. Are you interested in consulting people out there if they say, man, I'm a new agent. I just need somebody to talk to, throughout the month to get some mentorship and advice from? Obviously, be paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, I have thought about that. Again, the Mindy thing. She told me, you need to be talking to people. When we have new agents come in the office, we have a couple new ones right now, but even if I didn't recruit them, they lean towards me to, just follow around. And I don't mind that at all.
Okay.
I love to help people. I was that person
that want to be helped, right?
Right.
And I think we've talked about. I had a guy named Jess White on the show. And we talked a lot about like mentorship and stuff like that. And what as a mentor to a mentee, there really needs to be value offered on both sides of that.
Right.
And if one side, Jess had mentioned, find somebody that is where you were at and offer to work for them for free. Like, dude, I'll work, if I wanted, here's what I would do, Genty. If I wanted to be a real estate agent and I wanted to be the best, I would find the best in my area, which I believe is you. I'd say, dude, I got 10 hours a week that I can dedicate to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to pay me. I just want to soak up everything that you're doing so that I can be as good as you one day. Maybe beat you one day. I'd love to beat you one day.
Right.
But would 10 hours a week for a year, would that entice you to let me hang around with you and do what you're doing and help you maybe do the paperwork you don't like doing or whatever?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think that anybody that I watched that podcast, Jess, and he's right. Y'all are both right. If I wanted to do the same thing, I'm doing it for free. I'm going to make some value to that person.
Yeah.
In order to level up, because
100%. Because how many mistakes have you made?
A lot.
Every mistake. I watched a video of Mr. Beast on it the other day. You know who Mr. Beast is?
Mm-mm.
Big YouTuber. He's got 100 million subscribers. He said in the beginning of his journey, he tied his rope to people doing the same thing. And he said, I had 3 guys that we were all walking down the same path. And he said, if I was doing this alone, I would make 100 mistakes. Say I made 100 mistakes a year. Okay.
Right.
Each one of those mistakes I'm learning from. Now, if I'm tying my rope to these other 3 guys and they make 100 mistakes, we've collectively made 400 mistakes that we've all learned together from.
Right.
That levels you up 4 times as fast.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm working with you, I'm leveling up. If I'm not leveling up twice as fast, then I need to figure something else out to do.
Right.
On the flip side of that, on consulting, you could offer value that way. You could also offer value in return for monetary value.
Right.
That's kind of where I was going with. Would you be interested if somebody from this podcast said, "Hey, I want to learn how to get to where you got. My market's similar. Regardless, I think you use a lot of techniques that are ahead, that put you ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be interested in consulting for a financial return, somebody that wants to level up?"
I think depending upon the person, it's kind of like an interview for a job. Yeah, I mean,
Good.
There are a lot of people. There are some people that aren't going to qualify,
And that's totally up to you.
right, and so I put it like there's a couple teenage boys that are our neighbors. They come ask me for work, and I told them, don't disappoint me. I put my name out there.
Yeah,
If you do, that's the last. You get
That's
one
it.
chance.
that's it.
Don't cut my head off. So
It makes you look really bad.
same situation with them. They're helping out some of my clients and some
Yeah.
people, and I said, you have to be respectful, work hard, and same thing is what I would want to be to coach. You can't coach people who don't want to be coached. But if somebody
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
somebody wants to come and say, I'm ready to do the work, I'm in.
All right. Well, you heard the man, and we can set this up. If you guys want to be coached by this guy, you don't have to live around here. We can set up parameters on how that would work, and then I think you're absolutely right. Like, you need to spend 30 minutes with somebody on the phone just at least to see if they're a good fit.
Right.
Both ways.
Sure.
Both ways. What makes you different? I mean, how did you get? What were your strategies, your mindset to go from $3 million to over $25 million this year in sales? We didn't. You might have mentioned, but you sold your 100th property this year a couple of days ago.
100 unit.
Unit, yeah. So how, and your mindset and your processes of what makes you different? How'd you level up that quick? That's 5 years, man. It's a drop in the bucket when you consider it.
I feel like being able to do that. One major thing is, if I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I put on my Facebook post 24/7 and I catch a lot off of it,
Yeah.
I had a phone call last night at 10 o'clock. I answered it.
Yeah, he's telling the truth.
If a customer wants me to go show them a new construction that I can get into at 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
I'm in the truck.
Okay.
And so I think a lot of those values that people say, hey, I'll do it any time, but they can't do it or deliver, that's the problem.
So number one, you're willing to work harder than.
I'm going to work circles around anybody.
Okay. What's number 2?
I'm going to say marketing. I market a lot. I spend a lot of money on marketing. People know.
Of your revenue that you bring home from your sales, what percentage do you think you spend on marketing?
I can't tell you probably the percentage right off hand, but I can tell you that it's last year I think I spent like $75,000.
Okay.
On advertising.
And that's probably one of the big reasons. You're when you made that jump from $3 million to $12 million from year 1 to year 2, do you remember about how much you spent?
I think I was doing about $30,000.
Okay.
Something like that. Obviously, I level up. Being a previous business owner and still a business owner, You're in business for yourself. In order to make money, you have to spend money.
Yeah.
When I drive down Highway 80 and see Precision Turf rolling down with a huge box truck, it catches your eye.
Right, yeah. It's that gasoline that you got to, if you're driving a car down the road, you got to put gasoline in it. And the marketing is that gasoline. But also, not just marketing, but clear marketing.
Right.
Like you're the 24/7 guy. You're the I'm going to work harder than anybody else guy. You're the I'm going to answer the phone at 10 o'clock at night, if possible,
right,
guy. You're clear with your marketing so that by the time me as the person who's selling a house or buying a house needs to make that decision on what agent I'm going to go with, and there's a bunch out there, guys. Y'all know that. I've seen Genty on Facebook 100 times.
Right.
And I know that guy's hustling. I see he's got a truck with some lights in the rims. I've seen pictures of him showing properties at 11 o'clock at night on Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know this guy's going to go the extra mile for me. And I also know he's probably my return is probably going to be greater if I use you versus some of the other agents out there. There's also some other great agents out there. I'm not discounting
absolutely,
that.
100%. There's a lot of really good agents that have been in the game longer than me that I adore and love to work with.
All right, so what we got? Number 1, you're willing to work harder than anybody else. Number 2, marketing, but clear marketing, and spending money on marketing. What's number 3?
I mean, treating your clients. I treat a client like I would my mother. As far as, going the extra mile. If let's say my mom says I want $220,000 for her house, and I know it's worth $240.
Yep.
I'm listing it for $240. I'm going to tell them that they're wrong, but we're commission based. So maybe I'm doing myself a disservice by doing that, but I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
My job is to work for my seller.
Yeah.
So I could sell it quick for $220, and the seller could lose out on $20,000, or we can push the limit and go with what the data provides in the MLS and try it.
Yeah. You understand that you're working for people and that you have to accommodate.
Right.
I think on the flip side of that too is that, you and I have had deals, or we've had deals that we sold or you sold for us, and, delivering the news that, hey man, that's not really worth what you think it's worth. And here's why. That's important too, because you as a seller, there's this balance of something sitting on the market for a long time.
Sure.
And that gets into the brain of people that may be buying it if that thing's been on the market for 6 months.
100%.
Right? So we got to be honest, and that's where your experience comes in as well, of knowing your market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're an investor out there listening, Genty's an investor also, to find deals, and it all starts with the deal, to find deals, good deals, you better know your market.
Oh yeah, you have to know it. If you don't know the market, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yes.
If you're not using an agent that knows the market, you're still doing yourself a disservice. So, I mean, again, my brother and I started buying rentals when we were 23 years old. First one was an owner finance with my mom and my brother.
Okay.
We worked our tail end to get that going.
Mm.
We probably didn't know the market, but we know we wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And we took a chance.
That's a big part of it. And Jess and I talked a lot about that, is if you don't know things and you need some help, you can always bring in an outside investor that does know.
Absolutely.
And give them a piece of the deal. You and I collaborate on a lot of stuff that I'm looking at where, I'm pretty sure I know our market around here. I'm going to be close. But especially on the deals we've done a year or two back, I'm calling Genty and be like, hey, this is what I got. This is what they're asking for it. I think it's a deal. What do you think? And a lot of times you just go with me to look at the property.
Right.
And we'd figure out, okay, what is this going to be? Also, you got a lot of value in the renovations too.
Right.
And knowing what stuff's going to cost to get renovated.
Correct.
So that's another thing, like as a buyer out there, if you're in this market and you're looking at a rehab, call this guy. If if it's on the market and you need an agent to buy a property you need to rehab, he's going to be pretty good at knowing what the numbers need to be at.
Right.
I think we went through 1, 2, 3. Did we hit 4?
I'm pretty sure there were at least 4.
Okay. What's your mindset? What would you say? What mindset have you had to carry to be successful in this industry?
I'm going to say that just
When you're
one's being humble, and the mindset of going into it that you have to be competitive. One, you have to be humble, and I think that you have to be confident. And I'm very confident in myself. Sometimes that I hear people say all the time, I bet that guy, he thinks a lot of himself. You know, he's got his face everywhere. And then they meet me and they're like, whoa, I thought he was going to be
I was going to say that.
Right,
a turd.
Yeah.
So I think people need to meet you. Which, by the way, in your marketing, I think you need to add in some video stuff.
I'm pretty bad at video and stuff.
You're doing fine right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can do fine. I think just like, getting to that level, I probably needed to be doing some of that. I've had a lot of people ask me to do different type of video and stuff, or market analysis stuff.
You could literally, the only reason I say that is because of what you mentioned of people think a certain thing about you until they meet you.
Right.
Well, they can meet you before they actually meet you physically.
You're right.
By meeting you. So you mentioned that people may have a misconception of who you are, and I believe that probably is true, but if they meet you for 2 minutes, they'll realize that that's not who you are. And I think people get that conception because you are very out there.
Right.
Right? You're the big-headed realtor. When you close, you put a big old your big old head in front of your face, and you take a picture at the closing, which I think is awesome. It's great marketing. People know who you are without ever meeting you. You have wraps on vehicles that are running around town, do all kinds of extra Facebook marketing. But I think a great thing for you to do in the future, if you can fit it in and prioritize it, is maybe sit down at your desk and talk about some real estate issue for 2 minutes once a week, so that people can get to know you on that level without actually having to be in your physical presence.
Right.
You ever thought about that?
I have. I'm just not. I don't feel like I'm good at doing it. I'm not good with the cameras and stuff. That's why
what camera?
That's why I hire professional photography.
Yeah.
I could. I know I could if I set my mind to it and decided, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Literally, like nowadays, the videos that pop off the most are this cell phone. Not even using the good camera.
Right.
Using this camera and saying, hey, I'm Janti Patel, and something I ran into the other day was we had this closing and we had this issue, and this is how I solved it, or we solved it, and if you run into this issue, this is what you would want to do. Appreciate you being here. See you.
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah, and there's some really good agents that do that here locally, and I follow a girl in Utah. She's awesome.
Okay.
She does.
What's her name?
I think it's Paige. I can't remember her last name, but she's got some great reels.
Yeah.
Bethany Nolan here.
Okay.
She's got some great reels. I follow her.
Is she local?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are some agents that are doing phenomenal with it, and I always tell people I give credit where credit's due. If it's good, I tell you, hey, that's awesome.
If it's great, copy it.
Right.
I think you can see. Look at what he's doing. I think that what I mentioned there is not a dig at you at all.
No.
I think it's just the next could be the next step for you if you want to do it.
Right. Incorporate something different, and that's a part of the industry is you have to incorporate things that are different.
Yeah, well, you're already pretty dang successful, so I think enough people know that you're the guy to call out there. Anything else?
No, I mean if you want to get it and you want to be in this business, especially right now, you gotta have the work ethic.
Let's talk about the market real quick.
Okay,
what's happening with the market?
We've been in a seller's market for a long time. flipping over into a buyer's market.
What's the difference between the two?
So seller's market essentially is going to be where the seller has all the cards in their hands. You know, there's a bunch of buyers. The buyers are competing against each other. Well, whenever you flip over to a buyer's market, it doesn't mean that the market has gone down or it's going to crash. There's not going to be a crash. It's just there's less buyers, and those buyers that are out there buying have more leverage.
Yeah, okay.
And so you're able to, negotiate a little bit more. Whereas in a seller's market, no negotiation, no home warranty, no closing costs.
Yeah,
closing 20 days.
If as you know, we flipped a few houses in that market, and it was awesome.
Yeah, for sellers it is, but you're kind of having to recondition. I'm primary. I do a lot of buyers. I work with a lot of buyers, but I'm primarily a listing agent. I do list a lot of properties, and so right now we're having to educate our sellers on what's going on
expectations.
in the market.
Because if you don't set those expectations, who's going to do it?
That they won't know.
They won't know.
I'm there to do that.
Or they'll assume the expectations. Yeah, which is not good.
No,
not good. Don't let your customers set the expectations. You set those expectations based on your expertise, right?
Right.
But with the buyer's market coming up, I think we have a great opportunity as investors to be ready to find some deals.
Oh yeah, this is investor time, and I work with a lot of investors. So I know that a lot of these guys are, when regular, residential is not moving, they're buying, they're moving, they're shaking.
Yeah.
They're not putting their money in the market. They're buying real estate.
Yeah, because the return's great if you find a deal. All right, I think that's going to wrap us up today, man. I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Absolutely, I appreciate you.
It was good. Again, if you're interested in being coached by Genty, leave a comment below, and we'll find out a way to get connected, and then see, if you're a right fit for that. Be a great guy to be mentored by. He's got a lot of experience in this industry and knows how to win. You got anything to close it out?
If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, call me.
Yeah.
903-241-8955. I always have this thing on me.
Yeah, I know you do. But you know what? Like the first time I met you, that thing was going off in your back pocket, and you didn't answer it.
Yeah, well, if I'm with a customer now, I'm not going to. But I'll get back to them. I have a couple missed calls and texts right now.
It's hard to sit for 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I don't. You can ask people in the office. I pace. Pace.
You can't do it when you're sitting. You got to be sitting in front of a microphone. All right, that's it for today. Remember, love God, love others, and let your work reflect that. We'll catch you on the next one.